So spinach, as we refer to it here, this is actually Swiss chard, and this particular variety is a Ford Hook Giant. So this is a Swiss chard, but here referred to as the spinach. So this is one crop that is very easy to grow, and it can be highly profitable. Very easy to grow, easy to manage, and if the market serves you right and you're able to get everything right, can be give you very good margins. However, this is one crop that, especially when done in open field like this, it doesn't do well in the rainy season. It doesn't do well, so it's susceptible to diseases, powdery mildew, and fungal diseases as such. Once the rains set in, within 2 to 3 weeks, the crop is fully affected and actually fully gone. But this time round, this particular crop is about 7 weeks, going to 8 weeks since transplanting, and I transplanted this in the middle of the rainy season. And you can see the crop is still doing well, although there are some signs of fungal infections here and there, but the crop is still doing well. It's healthy enough, and I'll be able to continue harvesting this. So how did I manage now to this time around to be able to maintain this crop despite the heaviness that we've been experiencing currently? So what I noticed from the previous seasons, you see, normally what I do here is I grow these crops in phases, because my target market is a retail, the final consumer. So I don't do a large area at once. So I do these crops in phases. If it's the collards, if it's the tomatoes, I do small batches in phases so that I can have consistent supply all throughout the year. So what I noticed in the previous seasons, the younger Swiss chard, when the rains set in, it would be able to stay longer as compared to the ones that I had harvested for some time. So the ones that I harvested for some time, within a short time, when the rain start, within up to 2 weeks or so, the crop is fully gone. It gets those fungal infections and the crop is gone. But the younger ones could still, although the issues of fungal disease, could be able to still harvest them for about another month or so. So that's why this time around I try to do things differently. So with that observation, what I decided to do is actually this time I waited for once the rain started. That's when I opted now to transplant this particular patch of Swiss chard. So these were planted smack in the middle of the rainy season. That's when I transplanted this Swiss chard. And as you can see, the crop is still is doing fine. It's healthy, and there's not so many issues. So one thing I noticed is probably one of the reasons. Remember, like from transplant has taken about 5 weeks or so before you can do your first harvest. So one thing I've done differently this time around, of course, the first 5 weeks, there was no harvest, and so far I've only harvested once for the period. So limited the number of harvests. The notice is once you harvest, you open up the sections, and now it rains. The dirt that splashes onto the stems that you've cut out when you're harvesting, I think probably increases the risk of infection to the crop. The other thing is, of course, the basic is when transplanting, ensure that the beds are raised. Plant them on raised beds so that now you can improve on the soil drainage. So to ensure that the crop is not waterlogged. The second very important thing that I did was nutrition, crop nutrition. See, a healthy crop, once your crop is healthy and photosynthesis takes place effectively, the crop is able to withstand attacks by pests and diseases. So what you do after bed preparation, I added enough compost, and on top of the compost, during the transplant, I also added some fertilizer, NPK fertilizer during the planting. And then as the crop grew, I was doing a routine foliar feed. Why that? You see, at times, as much as there's at times you have nutrients on the soil, but the crop uptake is not as if so it's as efficient, or so that's why I opted to do foliar feeding, to boost the nutrition, especially some of these nutrients that could be locked into the soil but are not able to be taken by the crop. And I've said, once a healthy crop will be able to withstand these pests and diseases, it's not necessarily a matter of using pesticides. And so you ensure that you feed your crop effectively, the crop is well fed, the nutrition is balanced, and for sure you'll have very minimal need for pesticides. A good case is this patch here. The only thing I've used so far, I think, is a copper based fungicide, a routine, maybe bi-weekly since a transplant. But the main thing was to ensure I do foliar spray for nutrition. Number one was a biostimulant. This is seaweed. I do a routine weekly spray of the seaweed fertilizer, but to ensure there are some key nutrients that you ensure that the crop has. That's the obvious one. The nitrogen is phosphorus, and then there is iron, manganese, and magnesium. Get to have this feed the crop, and with that now, you see, as much as it's not able to, it's been fed from the soil, and you also boost the nutrition through the foliar spray, and that will have a healthy crop that will be able to withstand the fungal infections. You see, I had actually opted not to do switcher during the rainy season anymore because of the losses that I was incurring. So every time it rains, I would lose the crop within a very short time. So this time around, I decided to just take a risk because of that observation that I had made. They decided to transplant this Swiss chard during the rainy season, and so far, you can see it worked. Because the option that I had was not to do Swiss chard during the rainy season, avoid growing it altogether, or grow it in a controlled environment, such maybe like a greenhouse also. But you see now the costs are quite prohibitive at the moment. And you see here we're looking at, we're doing this as a business. So some of these crops, as much as you think this is a profitable crop, is it really worth it, incurring the cost of that greenhouse and all that to grow Swiss chard? Maybe, maybe not. But I'll say for sure, this one seems, I was trying it out as an experiment and see it has really worked. Because at the moment I can tell you for sure that the demand for Swiss chard has really gone high. Reason being, of course, most of the Swiss chard that other the spinach or the Swiss chard as it is been grown in the open field. Most of it so far by now has been destroyed, gone, been affected by those fungal diseases and all. And there's a very low supply of this particular product. So the demand is quite high, and with that also so is the price. Because now, at least for this particular product, this particular batch now, I think I'll be selling it almost at the 3 times what is normally sold here. A good example, maybe during the high season, maybe you get a kilogram of this chard sold to about 20 Kenya shillings. As it is now, the demand, I'll be selling this at 60 Kenya shillings per kilogram at the farm. So see, that's the gamble is going to pay. Although of course now I can see the signs of fungal disease coming in, but luckily enough, we are now nearing towards the end of the rainy season. So I'm hopeful that I'll still continue harvesting this crop for a bit longer. but see the margins that I'm getting also, no, they'll make sense. And in addition to that, I've already started another batch that is about I think 2 to 3 weeks from transplant, and next week I'll also be planting another batch. So that's the idea, have continuous supply of this product, stagger your production, you spread the risk, the expenses and all that, so that you can have a consistent supply all year long. So that's more like it. Thank you for watching. Till the next one, happy farming.